I'm Kim Anderson with Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service, Oklahoma State University, and I've learned that the only fair way to buy wheat is to grade it accurately. Now, research shows that if you don't grade wheat accurately, you'll have a tendency to pay producers that deliver a poor quality product more than that wheat's worth, and you'll have a tendency to pay producers that deliver a high quality load of wheat less than that wheat's worth. In this video, let's look at the assigning grades. Now, you got to remember that moisture and dockage are not grade factors. Most elevators will have a limit on the moisture they'll receive in a load, and they also have price discounts for moisture above a certain level. Same with dockage. Dockage is removed from weight, and there's often dockage discounts for dockage above a certain level, but they are not grade factors. A USDA, Federal Grain Inspection Service, publishes a grade and grade requirements for wheat. You've got the grades 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and sample grades. So you've got 6 grades of wheat. Then you've got the columns for the different characteristics. Now, on the first column, hard red spring wheat or white club wheat, we don't deal with those classes of wheat in this part of the world. So I'm just going to remove that from my tables. That way we won't get confused on which test weight column we need to use. And so we'll use the hard red winter and all other classes. Note that the test weight's in pounds and all other characteristics are in percent. Also note that on the requirements that they have the minimum limits for test weight and the maximum limits for your other characteristics. You've got sample grade. We've got another video that addresses the sample grade characteristics. You've got the list here, like if there's 32 or more insect damaged kernels in 100 grams of wheat, it's sample grade. Or if you've got 4 or more stones, or if you've got an odor, musty, sour, if it's heating, or you've got other problems in that, or other things in the wheat that can make it go sample grade. But we're going to concentrate on the characteristics for grades 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in this video. And again, going over looking at the test weight per bushel, it's in pounds. They've got minimum limits. I like to think of it as test weight must be greater than that grade requirement. In other words, test weight's got to be greater, 60 pounds or greater for number 1, or it's got to be 58 pounds or greater for number 2, or 56 pounds or greater for number 3. Way this table gives it minimum limits. If it's not 60 pounds, then it's not a number 1. And if you look at the maximum limits, I like to look at all of that must be less than this grade requirement. In other words, for foreign material, right there in the middle, if it's got to be less than 0.4 to be number 1, it's got to be less than 0.7 to be a number 2, it's got to be less than 1.3 to be a number 3. So just however your mind works, that's the way I work. And I'll use both of them and think of it both ways in different situations. But there are more than one way to look at these tables and interpret them. But the important thing is to get it right, because the only fair way to buy wheat is to grade it accurately and assign the right grade. So let's look at a sample and grade it. This sample, we've got 58.2 pound test. You look on the test weight column, it is less than, it's not greater than 60, or it's less than 60, however you want to look at it, but it is greater than 58, so it's a number 2. The odor, remember you take that before you do the test weight. It's okay, so you got a number 1. Damaged kernels, 0.5%. That is less than the 2%, so it's a number 1. You got foreign material, 0.9%. It is greater than 0.4. It is greater than 0.7, but it's less than 1.3, so it is a US number 3. Shrunken and broken, 1.5%. It is less than 3.0, so it's a number 1. Total defects, Now, total defects, 2.9, that is the sum of damaged kernels, foreign material, and shrunken and broken. In other words, 1.5 plus 0.9 is 2.4, plus 0.5 is 2.9%. So total defects, 2.9%. That is less than the 3%. So it's a number 1. There's a no heat damage, so that's a number 1. No other factors, that's a number 1. And so in grading it, the lowest grade is what determines it. In other words, right off the bat, it restricts the maximum grade for this sample, number 2, because of test weight. Now, damaged kernels could be a 1, but it's trumped by the 2. But foreign material is a number 3 grade, and that trumps number 2. So it becomes a number 3, and that trumps these grades. And so what we have on this load is a US number 3. The lowest grade factor, or the factor that grades the lowest, grades the sample. So let's grade another sample. You've got this load is a 61.3 pound test weight. We really like that. It's greater than 60, so it's a number 1. Odor's okay, so it's a 1. Damaged kernels, 2.6. It is greater than 2.0, but less than 4.0, so it's a number 2. Foreign material, 0.5. It is greater than 0.4, but less than 0.7, so that makes it a number 2. Shrunken and broken, 0.9%. It's less than 3, so that makes it a 1. Total defects, 2.6, that'd be 3.1 plus 0.9 is 4.0, so you add those up to get your total defects there of 4%. Looking at defects total, our defects percent, it's less than 5, so it's a number 2. Heat damage, that'll be a 1. None, that'll be a 1. And so the US number 2, the number 2 grade grades it, and that's our grade. So we know how to assign grades now. I'd suggest that in the packet you've got a quiz there that gives you other samples. I suggest that you take time after this video and grade those, assign those grades. If you're looking at sample grade factors, and like I said, we'll go over this in another video, but here's your limits. Animal filth, 2 or more in the work sample, that being your 1,035 gram sample. Broken glass, 1 or more. Castor beans, cockleburrs, chlorella seeds, stones, 4 or more, or 0.1% by weight, unknown. Diatomaceous earth. Now, that's in your truckload. Anytime you see diatomaceous earth, then that's going to make it a sample grade. Same with heating. Large stones, you're not going to see those in your work sample, but you could see them in the truck. Odor, if it's in the truck, and you may have that on your chemical odor, or you may have sour or whatever. If you have an odor in the truck, you can grade it right there as sample grade. Now, figure your facility is still going to want you to run the other characteristics, but you can either grade it in the truck or in the work sample. IDK 32 or more and 100 grams makes it a sample grade. Grade requirements, it's important that you know how to interpret and use each one of these. It's important that you assign the grade accurately, because the only fair way to buy wheat is to grade it accurately. You need good quality equipment. You need a good representative sample. You need trained personnel, and you've got to assign it properly.